Mr. Biden's presidency was, for me, the reassertion of the same old, same old. In other words, it was the reaction against Trump. 4 years of Trump provoked a reaction. And go back to what we had. Because Mr. Biden is like a poster child. He's been in the Senate from day one. Been there for, forever. I remember as a college student, his name came up because I paid attention to things like that. Number one. Number two, he's the senator from no place. Excuse me, Delaware. And I don't mean no disrespect to Delaware.
I'm not sure I've ever met anyone from Delaware.
Exactly. Delaware is a place where corporations go, and they have gone there for a century because it has the friendliest laws of any of the 50 states to corporations. It did that on purpose to bring them there because not too much else goes on in Delaware. I'm being a little mean, but I want you to understand he's a senator from a corporate state. He's the It's a little bit like being Mr. Schumer. That's a senator from another corporate state, namely Wall Street. So, and you are governed by all of that. You pretend otherwise, but that's who you are. And that's who he was. And he was never very important, and he was always, and also ran. And it made perfect sense for Obama, who is different in another way, because he's brown, to take somebody who is so traditional and make him vice president, which is how he becomes president. It's just, it's odd this way. Okay. So then what does he achieve? Well, a certain return to normalcy, but it solves none of the problems and therefore doesn't undo the support for Trump. It maintains it. If anything, it strengthens it. Despite every legal maneuver imaginable against Trump, still, if the race is close, which most people say it now is, that's Mr. Biden's fault. And he didn't do.
That is remarkable.
Yes, it is remarkable for many reasons. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I find important, Mr. Biden had developed over those many, many years of being a leading politician in this system, certain fixed loyalties that seem to be beyond question. Sort of interesting. One is his loyalty to what is called the neocon view of the world. The United States is the beacon of freedom, and the Soviet Union is, China is second, and we fight this war forever. He seems committed to that. To put people like Blinken and Sullivan and the others in those dominant positions in the international management advisory function means you are a neocon. So that's interesting. The second idée fixe he had was that the support of Israel has to be fundamental. And yes, they helped him in his political career, for sure. But it's more than that. There's some kind of loyalty there that is beyond question. You can see it each time the Israelis do something. He's right there cheering them on. He may walk that comment back a day or two later, but you can see the instinctual, before they can put a muzzle on the guy, out it comes. Interesting. And the third, contradictory a bit, is his feeling that he needs to show and be friendly to organized labor. So if I had to pick the most positive social contribution he made, it was by putting progressive people onto the board of the National Labor Relations Board, which has changed the way the unionization drive has emerged in the United States during his presidency. I'm not going to give him credit, he didn't make that happen, but he gave it a greater space by reducing the blockage worked by the NLRB under Trump and Bush and those people, even Obama. He gave them, and he just said, there was a strike began 2 days ago on the East Coast ports here, the Atlantic Ocean. The dock workers stopped working, they were striking. And his first statement was, the employer should pay them more. Whoa, that's that instinct. That's good for you, Netanyahu. Whoa, don't do that. You don't do that. You're the president of another country. You want to cease fire. You want the two sides. What are you doing? And they walk him back, and he then, but everybody sees. Well, in a parallel way, he does that for labor. And it has made it easier for the upsurge in labor militancy to happen in this country. And one of the things you can be sure Mr. Trump will do if he wins is clamp that down again as fast as you can say jackrabbit. I mean, that will happen, because that has been. They will hope that stops the labor militant. It won't, by the way, but it'll slow it. It'll hurt it. It'll produce obstacles for it. But beyond that, the rest of what he's done, not much.